forward together.
Not one step back.
It's our time.
It's our time.
It's our vote.
It's our vote.
It's our time.
It's our time.
It's our vote.
It's our vote.
It's our time.
It's our time.
It's our vote.
It's our vote.
The North Carolina NAACP and Democracy North Carolina are 150 adult and youth branches of the NAACP, all of the constituencies of the Democracy North Carolina, the Association of Black Newspapers, the North Carolina Council of Churches, which represents 16 judicatories, including the AME Zion Church, the AME Church, the General Baptist State Convention, the Methodist, United Methodist Church, the Unitarian Church, the UCC Church, the Disciples of Christ Church, and others. We have formed and combined forces with the 200 coalition partners of the Forward Together Moral Movement to coordinate what we believe will go down in history as the most ambitious statewide grassroots organizing and voter engagement plan since the 1960s. We call it It's Our Time, It's Our Vote. Long-term, nonpartisan voter registration, education, protection, and mobilization. Others have had time to vote on policy. It's our time now to judge them at the ballot box. We are building an infrastructure to house all of the righteous anger and indignation that we've seen through the Moral Monday movement. And while it will have impact in 2016, we are not merely building for 2016, but we're building an infrastructure that will last a long time beyond this election, because we know that we are on the front ends of a third Reconstruction in this country. The South is critical to that Reconstruction. A reconstruction and a moral revival of values must happen, must be expressed at the voting box, ballot box, and we intend to see it engaged here in North Carolina 2016 and beyond. So as the young people in the NAACP youth chapters and Black Lives Matter often say, get ready, we're coming. Amen. All right. Forward. This campaign will organize get out to vote efforts in 90 of our 100 counties. We will be in counties, we don't care whether they're red or blue, those labels, Democrat or Republican, liberal or conservative. We're going in with our moral values, believing that there are people of conscience everywhere who believe in our 5 key areas: economic sustainability, addressing poverty, and making sure people have living wages. Number 2, educational equality for all of our children. And access to community college and colleges. Number 3, health care for all. Yes. Expanding Medicaid, protecting Medicare, Social Security, eventually having universal health care, protecting women's health, and protecting the environment. Number 4, criminal justice reform to deal with the disparities that impact black, brown, and poor white people. And number 5, protecting and expanding voting rights, immigrant rights, labor rights, LGBT rights, women's rights, and never giving up on the fundamental principle of equal protection under the law. Yes. These are our moral values. And we believe that anything contrary to that, they are morally indefensible, constitutionally inconsistent, and economically insane. And we intend to make our values known at the ballot box. Not only will we be organizing in 90 of the 100 counties in North Carolina, we will have intense organizing in 55 counties. In 55 counties. Many people in this state get elected not so much because they won a great vote, but because people have been so turned off and stay home. We will be intentional about turning people on during this election. We have set a goal to engage 3,000 faith communities, 3,000 churches, mosques, and temples, and others, to engage in our souls to the polls, education, registration, and mobilization to the poll. 3,000. Somebody say 3,000. 3,000. And I'm here tonight to say that last night at the General Baptist State Convention, Martin Luther King, the president stood and the moderator stood and said that they're calling on all 1,500 of their churches to join this effort. I'm here to say that this evening we'll be meeting with the president of the Board of Bishops of the AME Zion Church, former pastor of Gola, and talking about how Zion will be joining this effort. And on January 15th, we've been invited by the rabbis throughout the state of North Carolina, the Jewish rabbis, and how they are linking hands with this initiative because they know it's our time and it's our vote.
That's right.
We will also be providing training for over 4,000 grassroots leaders and clergy. We will have people signing up to be volunteers, to do registration and calls and monitoring of polls. At these 3,000 faith centers, we will be asking them to work to see that all of the members of their faith community will, in fact, register to vote and vote. We also will be connecting with our fraternal organization, the fraternities and sororities, and also our Masonic brothers and sisters, and calling them to do what we've done before, but to do it in a bigger way, and that is to engage people, register, and make sure they get to the polls. There are 281,000 unregistered African Americans alone in this state. We intend to go after 28,000, at least 10% of those. There's 600,000 unregistered white people in this state. We intend to go after our white brothers and sisters and encourage them to vote. There are 100,000 Latinos. We intend to go after the Latinos because unlike our adversaries who want to suppress the vote, we believe in a democracy. Everybody should vote. And we believe that if you're a true democracy, you won't suppress the vote. You will develop an agenda that can survive in the public square. Those who want to suppress the vote want to do it because they know that their agenda can't make it if everybody votes.
Right.
In addition to those things, we will reach 2 million voters through a massive earned and paid media campaign. 2 million voters. We will also set a goal to hire a number of organizers to help with our branches and other organizations around the state. But we also are going to work to hire 32 young people who this summer will not merely read about Freedom Summer in the history book, who will not merely celebrate Freedom Summer, but we will have Freedom Summer 2016 right here in North Carolina. And we will unleash an army of young people. All of the energy in Black Lives Matter, all of the energy in the fight for 15, and they will join hands with the elders of the movement and move throughout this state, registering and mobilizing people to the vote, to the polls. And then when we come to the general election, we're going to vote in the primaries as well, but in the general election, we will hold no less than 50 moral marches to the polls in at least 50 counties. We will not only go to the poll individually, but we will march to the polls together in order to show the state that we intend on voting. We have to do this now because we've been in a season where we have seen people in this state, our governor and our legislature, pass the worst voter suppression law in the country. The worst thing we've seen since the 1950s, and the worst redistricting plan since the 19th century. We're fighting in the courts. We have marched in the streets, but now we will take our marching anger in the street to the ballot box. Oh, yeah. Our lawyers are winning. We have gotten an injunction in the Fourth Circuit, which says that as long as the judge in the Middle District has not ruled on our case, same-day registration and out-of-precinct voting is still the law of the land in North Carolina. That's our victory. They are telling you, and they are saying you have to have a photo ID to vote. We're announcing today, and we will have a big press conference on the 12th, to say that is not true. And they are not, in fact, being honest with the North Carolina public. The fact of the matter is, after the Shelby decision in 2013, we did pass the worst photo ID bill in the country. For the media, be careful, though, to call it a photo ID bill. It's a voter suppression bill because it was 40 changes to our voting laws. Photo ID was one piece of it. It was worse than Alabama, worse than South Carolina. We told them it was wrong. They didn't believe it. Many folk went to jail. We marched. We pushed back. Then our friends in Texas, Gary Bledsoe, the president of the Texas State Convention, and our friends there went to court over photo ID, and they won. And the federal court said that photo ID on its face is unconstitutional. That's when our legislature heard that, knew they were losing, so they went back and they augmented the law. And they placed something in the law called reasonable impediment. And so now we have filed an injunction with the courts asking them to enjoin the law. We don't know if that's going to happen or not. But we have a court date beginning in January to now fight the photo ID law.
All right.
But because we forced them and the law forced them to change the law, they put reasonable impediment in the law. What they should be saying on the ads, you've heard the ads, right? You have to, but that's and we're questioning the language because that's not what they're supposed to be saying. The law actually says now you can vote with or without a photo ID. That message needs to go out through the media. You can vote with or without a photo ID. If you don't have a photo ID, the poll worker will ask you for one, but if you don't have one, you can vote. Say you can vote. You can vote. By giving the last 4 digits of your Social Security and your birthday and sign reasonable impediment. And the reasonable impediment has to err in favor of the voter. So what we're saying is don't stay home. Go and vote. You can vote with or without a photo ID. Go and vote, and we will have people at the precincts and the polls monitoring with information. And if they're denied, people are denied, we're going to take a picture of it. We're going to know what's going on because we intend to fight anyone who tries to suppress our right to vote. Nobody gave it to us. People died for it. People cried for it. People bled for it. And we are not going to allow anybody to strip us of that right today. So you can vote with or without a photo ID. Reasonable impediment is our victory, and we're not finished yet. Finally, we are here to announce today, and you see people holding it, on February the 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, the North Carolina NAACP and the Forward Together Moral Movement, we are calling once again for the 10th year, but this year, our Forward Together Moral March and HK-on-J People's Assembly will be totally focused on get out to vote. We're calling thousands of people to join us in Raleigh on February 13th at 9 o'clock. Organizations join us. Churches join us. People of faith join us. People who believe in a moral universe join us. White, black, whoever you are. If you believe in a just society, join us. On that day, the principal speakers will be people who have been impacted by the policies. For instance, somebody may be sick who would have had Medicaid expansion, but they've been denied in this state. They will get up and speak and say, if you care about people like me, vote. Okay. On that day, we're going to put a face on the pain that is caused when regressive policy is enacted. And we're asking everybody to come, every branch to bring a bus or two, every church to come. And on that day, we will release the 2016 voter guide to thousands of people there, others online. We will live stream across the nation. We will sign up people that day so that when they leave Raleigh, we will go back with a fire in our belly to register people to vote. We started this campaign December the 1st, 2015, the 60th anniversary of Rosa Parks sitting down that we might stand up. The voter registration part of this campaign ends on February 19th, which is the last day to register for the primaries this year. We have decided that when people are trying to take your vote, then we need to recognize and say it with everything in us, mean it with everything in us, and do something about it with everything in us. It's our time. And it's our vote. Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
It's our time.
It's our time.
It's our vote.
It's our vote.
It's our time.
It's our time.
It's our vote.
It's our vote.
It's our time.
It's our time.
It's our vote.
It's our vote.